Hello everyone, my name is Dheeraj and I welcome you all to this podcast series called Carrots and Stakes. I will be interviewing trade marketing leaders to learn from their experiences and hearing their stories in building India's top brands. Today with me, I have Devika Mahajan, who has trade marketing experience with brands like Diageo and Bira 91. So she's here to spill some beans on the best practices and her experience in this industry. Welcome, Devika.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you for having me on this podcast.
How are you doing today?
I am good. Feeling
So,
excited and nervous. Yes,
shall we start?
absolutely.
Sure. So, Devika, I'll be asking you a bunch of questions, not necessarily about a particular company. The whole idea will be to learn about the industry overall, right? So, here today we will be talking more about the regulated industry, which might include tobacco and alcohol, since you are from that industry, right? I'll start with my first question. So, building a strong relation with the channel partners like your distributors and retailers is the key to a successful trade marketing. From your experiences, what do you think are the most critical elements of a successful partnership in a regulated industry like tobacco and alcohol?
Right. So, Dheeraj, I would be skewing more towards alcohol, being from that industry. Tobacco, I will not be having much insights about. Coming back to your question, so what I have learned and experienced in my tenure is that trust and ethical alignment is paramount with these distributors, retailers, wholesalers. Then also we need to have effective communication channels. Now, we need to share certain real-time information with our partners so that they have the same understanding as we do as a company about how the consumer behavior or consumer pattern is changing, what are the new regulatory norms in the market, how do we plan to do the activations or the trade marketing promotions on ground, how will our supply chain or our operations work efficiently to meet the demands of the market. We also need to have a collective crisis management call so that in case of any emergencies, let's say if there is certain route to market change or certain government policies have changed for a particular state, we should all come up with an alternative plan as to how we would go about it along with the partners that are there in the market. There should be collaborative knowledge sharing. That is, that we should hold training sessions for these wholesalers, distributors, retailers in the market so that they have a good amount, fair amount of knowledge about the product that we are selling. And so we have to understand that retailers are our influencers in this kind of regulated market, because once they know well about the product, through word of mouth, they would be pushing our product to the consumers who would then be consuming it. Because when a consumer enters a retail outlet, he or she, there are two ways. He or she, either they're very sure about the product that they want, or they're completely clueless and blank. They have a price or a value in mind, and if our influencers, that is the retail outlet owner, they're able to sell it to the consumers, then we are good to go. We also need to, as I earlier said, that align the goals and incentivize these the shopkeepers, the store owners accordingly, so that for them our product is paramount and they solely focus on selling or upselling our products only. There is something called as a joint up business plan that we do with the partners and the retailers on ground. Now, what this plan does is that it's a win-win situation for both the companies as well as for the retailers. What happens in this plan is simply we have certain campaigns that we would want to run on ground. The partners need certain ROI. If they invest in this kind of plan, or if they invest in our product, or if they invest their time in selling our product, right? So we make a plan along with them wherein we park certain amount or we park certain activations or promotions with these partners, and in return they help in selling our product. So joint up business plan is very important when we are doing any sort of partnerships with these retailers. We can also have collaborative campaigns. For example, we have certain retail outlets, modern retail outlets in Gurgaon. Certain wholesalers are there, like you have G Town Wines, Living Liquids, Mansions in Bangalore, Mumbai.
Your L1
Now, what
shops
happens?
also?
Yes,
The most popular L1 shops in Gurgaon?
yes, that is G Town Wine actually. So in Haryana, you actually get the liquor at a very low cost, and all the brands are available than Delhi. So yeah, so coming back, so we need to sit across with these retailers or restaurant owners also, and then we need to see that if they have certain nights planned. For example, ladies' night is there, or let's say some karaoke night is there. So we can plan a particular liquid or a brand that needs to be sold in on that particular night. All right. Yes, I think that brings me to the end of question one. In case you want more answers, I can go about it.
No, I think I pretty much understood it. Shelf space is always limited, right? Which
Yeah.
brings me to my second question. In a limited shelf space, in a retail outlet, and in a very intense competition, what are some of the effective ways a brand can actually survive and then thrive also? Without stepping into any realm of this direct marketing, because here the
Right.
whole point of advertisement, if I believe, is indirect, right? How do they go about it?
Absolutely, Dheeraj, you are right. And that is the reason surrogate advertisement came into play, which was then scrapped off by the government, and it was called as brand extension. So, yes, coming back to your question now, because direct advertisement of liquor is prohibited, it is kind of a dark market. India as a whole is kind of a dark market. So the best thing the products can do is play on product differentiation, that is on packaging or the way the bottle looks. Now, I will give you a few examples. Uh, Maybe the viewers can look it up later. So there is this new Scotch brand called Woodsman. Not sure if you have tried it. If you see the bottle, at the bottom of the bottle, there is a mountain, a peak which has been made, which is inside the bottle itself. So that is what sets that bottle apart. Of course, the price point also is very less of the bottle, and it is extremely affordable, in the affordable category. Then you have Hapusa gin. I'm not sure if you've seen the bottle. So gin is usually made with juniper berries. Now that gin is particularly purple in color, which I don't think any other bottle is as of now. Also, if you have seen a premium bottle of, I'm just quoting some examples which I have in my mind because these are the bottles that I personally love a lot.
Sure.
So there is a Roberto Cavalli vodka bottle. So these are the bottles when you see on the shelf, these will catch maximum eyeballs, and that is where you would want to instantaneously buy these bottles, not only for the liquid but also for the brand presence on your shelf in your house, because that is where it gives you a kind of a high, and it gives you, not in terms of the liquid or the liquor, but in terms of the aesthetic value. Moving on. Also, I wanted to share this very, very nice example. It's a very recent example, actually. I don't know if you've heard about this brand called Greater Than. So,
No, I don't think I've heard.
do you drink, Dheeraj?
Yes, I do.
What is
Being
your
a
favorite
okay, good old
poison?
good old monk is my best. Then I'm
Amazing,
a
amazing.
green label person and JD.
I've come across very few people who are green label drinkers, but Old Monk, JD, these are two most phenomenal liquids I've ever had, because
Yeah,
Old Monk, in its price category and the look of the bottle, the legend bottle which has come with the Old Monk face,
yeah,
that is a
true.
phenomenal new marketing tactic. It's just a spin-off on the
Yeah,
old bottle.
yeah.
And
You
Jack
don't want
Daniel.
to throw out the
Yeah.
bottle.
Exactly. In fact, there is a very uh, there is a startup which has now started making glasses out of those old monk bottles.
Oh, yes, I know.
So the glasses are beautiful, and you would just want to keep them as keepsakes in your home because the glasses are too heavy to drink from it. So
Yeah. What about JD? I mean, JD bottle is also this old retro vibes, that number 7 barrel, that it's, you just keep it with the money plant in it at your home. It still gives you a very aesthetic vibe.
that's a very, very good idea. So Brown-Forman has played on its bottle's simple packaging. Brown-Forman is Jack Daniel's parent
Yeah.
company, and they have just one brand on which they have leveraged their entire portfolio and profitability. So it's a good thing. And coming back to my story about Greater Than quickly, so what they did was they took out this exclusive gin, a limited edition gin called Broken Bad Gin. Now, what they did was they took out this massive marketing campaign that you collect your broken bats, keep it with you, and we will collect it from you. And nobody knew what was going to happen once the bats were collected, and people had old bats with them. And India being a very, very sentimental and emotional about cricket, so everyone had it with them, and they were very happy to give it to a liquor company. So what happened was Greater Than then made a cask out of those cricket bats, and in that cask they aged their gin with some Kashmir willow trees barks as well. And that is how the Broken Bad gin came into being. And this was a massive campaign which created a lot of hype amongst people. So yeah, so this is how you can differentiate the product and your marketing also. Also now, because direct advertisement is not allowed, so the most important aspect is the brands do experiential marketing.
Okay.
And I'm sure everyone has heard about Bacardi NH7 Weekender.
Yes.
That is where the legacy started of the musical experiential events. So that is how Bacardi sold itself, increased its credibility amongst the millennials, the urban millennials, not the Gen Z, of course, because nowadays no one. I think NH7 has been scrapped off, or no one even goes over there. So anyway, so Smirnoff had a lot of festivals. So these were the musical festivals that created a type of advertisement which generated word of mouth publicity. Also, I could just go on about it again. So one more last thing was that so there is this example of Tuborg also. So when Tuborg came into the picture, or in fact Corona also, so when you pull open the cap, there's a pop sound that comes because you're pulling it open. So
yes.
so they did all those marketing activities around the popping sound when you rip off the cap. So these are some of the small marketing techniques, tactics that liquor industry or alcohol companies do to build their brand. So,
Understood.
yes.
I think it's more about first aesthetics, which I guess is anyway important, and then experience with which a person can relate, not even the first time, but if, let's say, next 100 times when they are consuming that brand, be it this
Yes.
bottle, be it the, like you said, the pop sound and all these kind of things.
Absolutely.
Okay. You also talked about brands doing some music festivals or some collaborations to pull the crowd toward them, right? So I just want to dive onto that. I mean, you talked about brands being placed on the shelf space through their aesthetic, through their experiences. But now, what about how to bring customers there? There must be some sort of a loyalty programs, right, which would be there for the your whole supply chain. How does that work? Do you have any example of that, or any specific tools, platforms, or how do you do it?
Right. So what happens is, Dheeraj, that we have, so in metropolitan cities, it's fairly easier to get the crowd to a store because you can do n number of activations over there. You can, uh, you know, you can give a lot of knowledge to the consumer because they would understand the fact that this product contains 18 types of let's say some berries or 18 types of botanicals. This is how the gin is made. I'm sure even you or others like me who are very calorie conscious, or who like to read the ingredients before consuming, we would have something which is low calorie. So all these tactics would work for a metro city, but for a tier 2 tier 3 city, it is more of incentivizing the storekeeper, the one who is selling my product. So we have a lot of CSM incentives, which is your counter store manager incentives, which are given to the storekeeper, to the outlet manager, to incentivize them so that they can sell it to the consumer further. For metro cities, we have apps like in Bira, for example, we have an app called Make Play app, which is there. Even you should download that. It's a phenomenal, very nice app. So every time you open a bottle, scan the cap, you get some points, which you can actually redeem for a lot of offers which are there in the app itself. So this is the way probably we can start off, and then probably we can also do a lot of bundling, or gift with pack is what we call. So a lot of companies have different names to it. Some call it gift with pack, gift in pack. Now this is purely very simple. For, let's say, some modern retail outlets like your G-Towns, G-Town Wines, we would actually give buy a case and get a pack of glass free with it, or you get some you get a bar opener, you get an opener free with it, or some small tokens which are given free with the cases or the bottles. But in tier 2 tier 3 cities, we need to understand that this is not how the mindset of a consumer works. He would say, what would I do with a glass or an opener? Because they tend to consume on the spot near the store itself. That is how the consumption takes place. They wouldn't want to take it back home, relax, and then consume it. So what we do is over there, we give them snack packs along with the liquor so that they can consume what we call as chakna in India. Like, everyone's obsessed with the term chakna. Kitna bhi premium outlet you visit, people will say, bhaiya thoda chakna de do. So yeah, so that is how we try selling our products and giving them gifts along with it. We could also give discounts on the bottle, or we could then further bundle it. Maybe we sell one liquid and along with that we say buy one get one free or something like that, because that is when, as soon as the price decreases or falls and the value of the product increases, that is when a tier 3 consumer will hop on that offer. So these are some ways we try to incentivize or bring the consumer to the outlet to get the purchases done. So we still consider tier 1 town as our main focus for premium giveaways or premium gifting. But moving on to tier 2 or tier 3 rural areas slightly is where value packaging or value or discounts or the snack offers come into play. Yes. Tier 4, 5, I'm not even sure if the brands would want to enter, Dheeraj, because there is no ROI over there. So companies that have a global presence wouldn't want to step into that unorganized segment as of now, because there are a lot of local brands like Narangi or those certain liquids which can cause certain issues and challenges. So I don't think a lot of brands and startups, especially in liquor industry, wouldn't want to go on that route. Probably certain startup owners or certain global brands could have a different understanding altogether.
Understood. I have a one point. If you have any inputs on that, please do share. So in mostly this might be not case with the tier 1 town. This can be divided between the tier 1 income groups, tier 2 income groups, and tier 3 income groups. Is the consumption of liquor which is premium as compared to their normal one which they consume generally, if somebody does, right? Let's say I would be investing or I would be spending money on something like Blue Label, okay, on a particular occasion, right? I can be in a tier 2 or tier 3 income group, but not tier 1 or maybe tier 4, I don't know. It's just that how do brands position themselves in a place where they know their brand is something which a person or which a larger group might not be consuming on a regular basis, but this is mostly for a gifting or a occasion purpose for their celebrations and all. How do brand position themselves in this?
So see, we need to understand that these brands are for aspirational value. Like you rightly mentioned that you would buy it for gifting purpose or on occasions and not regularly, as you would be drinking a black label or a green label or a double black. So these brands do not have to advertise or do not have to do campaigns on a regular basis. They cater to a very, very niche crowd. Now, I will give you an example. Johnny Walker does a lot of experiential marketing events with UHNIs and HNIs, right? They do a lot of tasting sessions and a lot of food pairing sessions with a very select group of people, which would be having certain journalists or Rajas, Maharajas of Jaipur, or maybe some celebrities and influencers. Now, the reason why for this exclusive premium events is so that it spreads the thing about the brand, or let's say the credibility of the brand remains intact in that circle itself, and the word of mouth is then spread, or let's say the loyal customers are built in that segment itself. So that is how the brands tend to position themselves only for the select exclusive group of people. Once it starts building in those loyal group of people, that is when it gets cascaded down. So there is a brand funnel that the companies follow, Dheeraj. Now, when you look up to a celebrity or an influencer and they are drinking something, for example, I don't know if you have seen Suits. It was
Yes,
a very popular series. It still
Macallan.
is. Absolutely. See, you recall the name without even me telling you about it.
Yeah.
So because Harvey Specter used to drink it, so people became a fan of Macallan. So
Yeah.
that is how these brands tend to position themselves in that kind of segment. You won't find a brand like Blue Label competing with a brand like McDowell in the same
True.
in the different category and in the type of activations that they're doing. So
Got
I
it.
hope that answers your
Oh,
question.
absolutely. I think example was apt, right?
Yes, because
Yeah.
I am also a fan of Suits. That's why. So
Nice.
yeah.
So, how does data play a role in your industry, right? If I talk about, let's say, software or maybe consumer goods, other consumer goods, uh, specifically not the regulated ones, I've seen there are a lot of tools. There's a lot of data which is there from your point of sales, from your online selling. But in terms of the regulated industry, how does the data play a role? How do you gather the data, right? In such a complex supply chain, place.
Right. So yes, you're right, because it's a very, very regulated market. Collecting data of consumers becomes a tad bit difficult because we aren't allowed to collect any data from the consumers, because liquor in India is not supposed to be promoted or pushed onto the consumers for consumption. Right. So how do we go about is what we do is that we check that what is the velocity, that is basically your how the sales have been doing for a particular state or a particular outlet pre our activation, and how the sales have done post the promotion or the activations. Now, for this, we have the sales data that we can collect through a lot of tools. So we have SFDC, that's Salesforce, through which the sales data or the volume can be collected. So Dheeraj, we have to understand that because route to market, now I keep on saying this term is because for different states, we have different regulatory policies, and how the liquor is sold in these states is very different. Now, for a Karnataka or a Delhi, you would have a corporation market wherein the government has complete control and the data is very, very transparent. So you get to see the volume, you get to see how the sales have been doing. So pre and post is very easy to collect. But moving to a distributor market, like for example Mumbai, or a wholesaler market like Haryana, it becomes a little difficult for us, and therein we rely on whatever inputs are being sent to us through these tools, through the partners on ground. And that is where we come back to your first question. The trust needs to be built with these partners on ground so that we have efficiency in the data that we are receiving, and we are able to calculate and work around the nuances of these activations. So this could be one type of software, and then we have to see how the consumer behavior is while doing the shopping, or while purchasing the product. That is where the shopper marketing insights come into play, and as in what kind of demographic, the demographic point of view comes into foray then, or what kind of region, let's say a particular state where maximum consumers are picking up what kind of product, in which segment. Maybe it could be a mass segment, it could be a value segment, or it could be a premium segment product that they are picking up. So this basically helps us to accurately plan, accurately forecast the demand, not accurately, but give a forecast of the demand, helps us in planning the supply chain and the operations and how much material needs to be procured, so that there is no shortage or lack of supply in the months, especially when when it is peak season or festive season, for example. So that is the reason these tools are very important for us.
I think this brings us to our last question, right? Where I want to understand what's the future of this whole industry, and any notable trends or shifts that has happened in past 10 years, and how it will further go in the next 1 decade.
Oh, 1 decade. That's a long time. But yes. So, see, Dheeraj, now, so the world is currently sitting at an industry of $2,300 billion globally. That's huge. India is the largest consumer of scotches right now, with a $55 billion industry, which is presumed to grow at $64 billion. It will become $64 billion by 2030. Now, seeing India as a dark market, a lot of excise, lot of compliance, lot of regulatory norms are there, which will only strengthen with time. So, because now government has also completely scrapped off surrogate marketing, switched to brand extensions, which are legit brands a company needs to have. This brand extension also will take a backseat in some time, because there are certain norms that the brand extension needs to follow. Less than 2 years of a product, more than 2 years of product, there are certain norms. Now, going in future further, there would be a lot of transparency that would be required by the government.
I'll just hold this, and we'll ask, what is a brand extension?
That's a very good question. So, have you seen black and white ginger ale, Johnny Walker soda, Black Dog soda?
Yes.
Which you mix with your drinks and all.
Yes.
And it is easily accessible to you when you visit a Kirana store.
Yes.
So yes. So these are the legit brand extension that came into the picture after the government refused all these CDs, Smirnoff CDs, music CDs,
Yes.
which were never in the manufacturing plant or which were never even there, but some hypothetical CDs were being made.
Okay.
So the government said that no more of these hypothetical things or these fantasy things that you're showing people to sell your liquor brand. You need to have a legit brand in place so that your liquor can be sold. But there were a lot of things to it that it cannot have the same font as the brand name. It cannot have the same colors. If it is if the brand is shorter than 2 years, and if the brand is more than 2 years old. So yeah, so these are the brand extensions. So I've personally worked on 2 brand extensions, that is Black and White Ginger Ale and Johnny Walker Soda, which was there, and they did pretty well. So yes, these are brand extensions for you.
Understood. Yeah. And I think what I have learned is more focus on data, which will help the brands understand quickly where's the demand shifting. And it is also easy for the same data to be shared with the government, so that government's decision making on these regulations is faster, and brands can move faster, just like
Right.
in a unregulated or a normal industry, right?
Right.
I think, yeah, that's it, Devika. Thank you so much for your time and walking us through a bunch of liquor brands, their experiences, stories. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you had
You're
a great
welcome.
time interacting.
I had a lovely time. So as Johnny Walker's tagline goes, keep walking. So
Oh yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Yeah. Thank
that
you.
is
Bye
true.
bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.